I'm delighted to be here from AWS and New Relic, a strategic partner of ours, run this great conference, and it's great to see so many of you here. I'm going to be joined by Jana from About You shortly to talk about their story, but before that, I'll just spend a few minutes talking a little bit about how we're helping customers jointly with New Relic to accelerate their migration to the cloud. So I'm pretty sure many of you have hopefully heard about AWS. But really, when we think about AWS, we have a very bold mission at AWS. We're helping organizations all over the world to differentiate themselves, to move fast, and to reduce risk in their organizations. From startups to the world's largest enterprise organizations and government bodies, we have a complete technology platform to enable customers to do that. But what we see with our enterprise customers is that cloud is really enabling them to transform their application portfolio. We're seeing, for a typical enterprise customer, the typical application portfolio is around 1,000 applications in their business. And we're seeing that companies want to modernize and move to the cloud to enable them to get more, whether it's cost optimization, better agility or speed in the way they deliver their software and their features. And their customers are demanding this from them. We heard earlier around digital transformation and how new innovative startups are disrupting age-old industries. And enterprise customers want to move like these smaller companies. They want to be able to innovate in the same way. And what we see is that actually, while some applications are developed in-house, still around 70% of applications are custom off-the-shelf software that people are buying to help them move to the cloud and to help them run their business. So analysts predict that there's around 1 million applications that will move to the cloud in the next 3 years. And that's a significant amount of applications and a significant amount of customers that have a lot of work to do. And to make that journey, it's really important that you use data as much as possible to make the right decisions along the way. So when we talk about migration, for many of our customers, they have to go through a journey of migrating to the cloud. It's not necessarily a greenfield environment. We do have those startup customers that are started in the cloud, but for many customers, they have some existing application or infrastructure that they need to migrate. So migration is fundamental for many of our applications. Accessing their existing applications, identifying the best way to run them in AWS in a cloud-native way gives you lots of opportunities to optimize your environment. So if we look at the typical migration, we see two curves here. We see the cloud-native migration in the green, and then we see the cloud-native deployment in the green, sorry, and then we see these kind of cloud migrations, which is the blue line. And what we see is many opportunities kind of along the way here to use data to help you make the right decisions and move forward. So this is where we've partnered with people like New Relic to offer integration to AWS to help customers move along that journey. We have integration with around 30 services. 30 AWS services integrate with New Relic today in terms of capturing data from those services to help you on that journey. This could be identifying issues early in your cloud migration journey, compatibility of applications using data to make those decisions, right-sizing your environment to make sure that you're getting the most of the resources you have in the cloud. The great thing about the utility nature of the cloud is that you no longer have to define this fixed capacity up front of how much resource you need. So this using data to continually optimize your environment is super important for our customers. And then when you're in that reinvention stage, making sure that you're operating in the most effective way and continuing to ask yourself the question, am I as optimized as possible? Innovation in a cloud world from a platform perspective is much faster than you probably are used to today in a traditional world if you're not running in the cloud. Features get released at a much faster velocity. Are you taking advantage of these? Can you use a server type that has a better cost performance for your application that you're running? So continually using data to ask yourselves those questions moving forward. And we've partnered and integrated with New Relic along the way to help us give our customers the observability they need along that journey. As we move into that kind of reinvention stage, what we're seeing is customers are building more and more sophisticated applications. They're moving to these microservices, monoliths to microservices. They're using serverless technologies. They're using containers. Distributed systems are very complex and require much more data collection, observability, and correlation between those services to really understand the customer problem when you're in a critical situation. So the word observability obviously is very key to what we're doing with New Relic here in this partnership. But it's super important that customers, as they move into that stage of reinvention and they're looking at different and modern application architectures, that they're looking to build systems that are observable and can be used in that way. What we also see is the opportunity to modernize your vendor portfolio when you move to the cloud. Maybe hopefully you're already New Relic customers. Maybe you're just exploring that journey. Maybe you use other traditional vendors like F5 or Cisco in your environment. Well, what we're seeing is that there's this landscape of the way that enterprises are using application or choosing their application vendors. There's a top 5 vendors: the Oracle, SAP, IBM. These big vendors that most enterprise customers are using. There's around 50% of IT spend is spent across those top 5 vendors. But what we're seeing is this group of about 30 to 50 vendors in this middle ground that can help you really accelerate your cloud migration. And actually, this is a loose 50. These aren't 50 specific vendors. These are the 50 vendors that you as an enterprise will choose to use to help you in that journey. And then there's obviously the long tail of vendors in these kind of thousands of applications that customers run. So what we do at AWS is we provide a marketplace that allows software vendors to run provide their applications to AWS users, and you can actually procure software through the AWS marketplace on your AWS bill, and we partner with companies like New Relic to allow our customers to easily procure software through that marketplace. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that if you're an AWS customer. There's thousands of applications across many software vendors across many categories that you can look at. So quick introduction to how we're working with New Relic, but I think more important is that we at Amazon, just like New Relic you've seen already, we like to share our experiences to our customers, stories to our customers' experiences. So I'm joined today by a customer, About You. You heard a brief introduction about them already, but I'm going to invite Jana to the stage in a second. She's going to take you through a bit About You, so you're familiar with their organization and what they're doing. And then I'll rejoin her on the stage and we'll do a bit of a chat about how they migrate to the cloud and what benefits they got from both working with AWS and New Relic. Welcome, Jana.
Yeah, welcome also from my side. Really exciting. It's the first time here for About You to be at FutureStack. Why? Because we aren't in the UK, actually. So quick hand show. Who knows About You? Maybe the ASUS guys. Yeah, but it's very few here. So this is why maybe it makes sense that I talk a little bit about who we actually are. We are a fashion online pure player, so and we are one of the fastest growing e-commerce players at the moment in Europe. And we consider ourselves the most inspiring and personal online fashion shop in Europe. I will come to that in a moment. We are a mobile-first company. But maybe it's even greater to look at some numbers. So we are still a young company. We are roughly 5 years old, and we made in the first year already 62 million gross merchandise volume or revenue in that year, and last year over 1.4 billion. So you kind of see the growth we're heading to, and that is just for our retail business. And we are present currently in 10 different countries. So we started off in Germany, then Austria and Switzerland, but are now also we are in the Netherlands, Belgium, and a lot of Eastern European countries. But what you already can tell here, we grow very quickly, very fast, and this is also why our technology needs to keep up with the pace that our business has. But staying still at About You retail, so how do we differentiate ourselves in the market? And I already said that we are an inspiring online shop. What does that actually mean? So if you want to buy fashion, you actually go to Amazon probably. You know exactly the Levi's 501 that you want to buy, you know your size, and with a one-click buy, you have it within seconds. you know what you want. If you want to find fashion, you go to ASOS and Zalando, and there you look through a big assortment and you just want to find a new dress, for instance. But what does About You do? Well, we allow our customers to discover fashion. So when they come to us, we aren't really their online fashion shop, but we are their InStyle magazine. So we inspire them. We want to take the offline stroll through the shopping experience offline, online. How do we do that? Well, we do that with a big influencer network. So we have lots of inspiring content on our page. We have stories, so Instagram like stories, but of course combined with selling our articles. We have lots of outfits you can buy. So right now we have even that's even higher than 80% smartphone share. Most of that is in our app. So customers, most of them over 70% women, look at the app to just know what new outfits one of the idols has posted. So instead of checking Instagram, they're checking actually our app. This is great for customer retention, and we see that really investing into that pays off. So we don't have any loyalty programs, but customers come back. Why? Because our content is so inspiring and actually relevant to them. But what is for the tech, from the tech side, even more important is that we're really good already at personalization. So every online shop will be different for each user. So the landing page is completely personalized based on what you're interested in, of course, what you viewed, what you clicked, brands you follow, influencers you follow, etc. Demographics, of course, as well. But that is what we're really, really strong at. And if you maybe ask, well, you're a fashion online shop, no, we actually define ourselves as a tech company. So we are roughly around 800 employees at the moment, and 250 developers. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much emphasis we put on tech development. And all our, I like that it was said before, all our business people, I'm actually business people, understand tech or are forced to understand it and need to make that connection. Yeah, and with that, we are able to grow very, very fast, but with our self-built e-commerce infrastructure. So all the systems that we're using at About You, we actually built ourselves because we knew that standard products on the market wouldn't be able to grow that fast with that. To be that flexible and adaptable to actually take us to this 1.4 billion within 5 years. Yeah, so that was a little bit of the background of About You. But I'm not from About You, actually. I am from the About You Cloud. So we took our e-commerce platform and productized it and now sell it to other retailers. Why? Because we were just approached by so many retailers saying, okay, what shop system do you use? What platform do you use? Like, well, we built it ourselves. Well, can we use that? Not yet. But then 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago, we decided, well, we're ready now. And yeah, so this is why we now sell our platform as well to other retailers. And I welcome back Steven, and we will chat a little bit about our journey and how AWS and New Relic are very relevant on that journey.
Cool.
I think
we'll grab a seat. Yeah. That's fantastic. It's great to see the growth of the company in such a short period of time and how technology is fundamental to doing that, really disrupting the industry that you're working in. But I initially understand that About You technology didn't sit in the cloud. You actually started on premises with your implementation. Can you tell us a little bit about what led you to move to the cloud and the kind of compelling event that caused that to happen?
Yeah, exactly. We started off on premise, and actually there are two major events that I want to share with you now. It's kind of a fun story. The first one was was Christmas 2015. And our social media department bet our managing directors that if we get 50,000 subscriptions on Facebook, that time Facebook was still really big, then we will have 50% off on our complete assortment on the app. So we made that happen. We actually had the 50,000 likes for that action, and what we didn't expect at that time, so we had then 3 days, which was on the 24th of December, 3 days this campaign of 50% off. What we didn't really calculate with was customer behavior. So of course everyone filled up their baskets with tons of products right before 0 o'clock, so at midnight. And we had a small squad team watching the applications and yeah, looking at it. And then actually got really scared when we saw the traffic peaks approaching. And yeah, so it happened what was supposed to happen. So everyone went through the checkout at exactly 0 o'clock. And yeah, the complete shop was down. So that was horrible. We ended up with having to cancel over 14% of the orders. Customers were very confused. They got products they didn't order. They didn't get any. They weren't informed. So also our customer service wasn't prepared for that. Yet, but well, it still was a huge success. So for a short period of time, we were second in the download app store after WhatsApp. That was really, really cool. And we learned also that customers accept apologies if you give lots of discounts. But even better is that we learned a lot how to improve our backend system. And what we implemented then was this modular structure that is now also the core of the About You Cloud. So we rebuilt our backbone system. We have now virtual stock handling to make avoid that we oversell. Did a lot of improvements on that side. Also emergency handling, we needed more visibility. That's actually also when New Relic came into place a lot more. But we were still on premise then. And then Black Friday came along. That was 2016. And we didn't want that to happen again, what happened at the crazy Christmas action we had. So we prepared. We prepared for weeks. And the day before Black Friday, what did we do? Well, we went into an electronics store and bought 2 more servers just to be prepared. Everything was fine. So Black Friday went smoothly. We had tons of traffic, but it was just too much overhead to prepare for that. So we decided, okay, done with that. Our backbone system works, but we want to go to the cloud. Yeah, and that is why and how we decided to go to AWS.
Cool. Yeah, it's really interesting to see that story. We actually hear it a lot from customers that have a compelling event or something. And what's interesting is you actually handled that Black Friday quite well with these new servers, but you realized the operational overhead and that heavy lifting is where the cloud could come in and help you. And I think that's where a lot of customers see benefits. Can you touch a little bit more on why you chose AWS and what the benefits were that you saw?
Yeah. For us, it was a couple of benefits, but most of all, it was exactly that, to reduce the maintenance overhead. Like, we needed to scale fast, quickly, but without the worrying, and not having our ops run to actually store and buy servers. So we didn't want to take care of the worrying there, but another big part was the security. So we wanted to go with a player that really has competence in security there. And I mean, you guys have all the security updates and more security engineers than we could ever deploy to make sure it's safe. So the scalability and the security were the biggest reasons why we chose for AWS. Of course, there's availability zones, flexibility regarding where you can host, especially important now for our internationalization, also with our tenants. But to summarize, I'd say it's the scalability, less effort for our ops, of course, and the security.
Cool. And you'd already kind of rebuilt the back end of your application to be more sophisticated and scalable before you moved it to the cloud, but you still had to go through that cloud migration. Can you talk us a little bit through the migration strategy and how you did that, and if you had to refactor or re-architect any applications to do that?
Yeah. So here, kind of the other way around as what we did for the Crazy Christmas action, risk it all, we went for a low risk strategy here. So we went part by part. So we still had our on-premise provider up running the whole time, but then moved team by team, all services team-wise, to AWS. And that was it resulted that was the right strategy because we had no effects on our end customers. So they didn't realize it, that there was anything going on. And we could use the learnings that we made from the first migration for the rest of the teams then. So with every team that migrated, we had more learnings that made us very quick in the end. And regarding the refactoring, yes, we did have to do a little bit. So, for instance, getting rid of locally stored log files, for instance, on some servers, but that at the same time also posed an opportunity to actually get that more secure, because we had to rethink a little bit our applications to not depend on servers to always be there, but that they're thrown away. And some processes that needed a little longer after traffic went down, server scaling down. Of course, these processes need to be finished first. So yeah, we had to do some refactoring, but it wasn't major. And in the end, it's even helped us to make our applications more secure and think smartly of how to scale and downscale.
Yeah, I think we hear that from a lot of customers around how to move to the more of a cloud-native architecture, removing state from your server instances, being able to have this immutable infrastructure that just scales and up and down. And from a security perspective, you can just replace instances as you need to. So that's a common theme we hear. And then from a deployment perspective, from what I understand, you're not using the web console. You're actually now using infrastructure as code and automating your deployments, which I'm sure is helping you go global as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, we appreciate also the web-based GUI that you guys have, especially the developers like that. In case something could happen, we could react fast, but yeah, we're managing it all via code and have it in repositories. Yeah.
That's great. So, switching gears a bit to New Relic, at which point did you realize that you needed a kind of platform like New Relic to help you get the observability you needed in your application?
Well, we have been using New Relic quite early on already, and we still have other monitoring and logging systems in place. But we extended the use of New Relic over the years. So one of the events that I mentioned was the emergency handling improvement after the Crazy Christmas thing. But now even with our customers, it is helping a lot. Why? Because it has a lot of standardization already built in. So you can plug and play pretty quickly. So for each of our tenants, we have an own instance, our own infrastructure setup. We need to set up everything again, and there it just helps that New Relic comes with a lot of programming languages and frameworks already there, and as well as the visualization. So we had it, I think MAN Tracks said it as well. It's easy also for non-techies to understand New Relic and see what's going on in the applications. So also our customer success managers actually like looking at that and don't have to ask the responsible developers to see what's going on, but they actually are able to interpret that, and we don't have to build these dashboards ourselves, but there's a lot out there already. So we just extended the usage of New Relic, especially now with having that also available for other clients. We just need standardization and a big player in the market.
So you're taking a subset of the data that you're capturing from New Relic and actually providing that to your end customers in About You Cloud so they can get some visualization of what's happening.
Yeah, of course we don't give the full picture to our clients, but of course we also have to stick to SLAs and report. We also give some of the monitoring out. Yeah.
Great. So saving them more operational overhead on your side for building that as well.
Yeah.
Great. So, by 2017, you'd migrated to the cloud. You had this secure, robust, scalable platform. How have modern cloud technologies helped you to be able to expand into things like About You Cloud and you pivot your business completely into, you're still running the previous business, but, have this About You Cloud arm now of your business that's selling into other retailers?
Yeah, actually for us it's leveraging the synergies that we have. So with About You we have now a huge test customer, so to speak. We can try out a lot of stuff. We have lots of reach, we have lots of traffic, we have lots of data, and that we just take into innovating also our About You Cloud technology. We never stop innovating. The product never stops. Of course, new releases, new features every day. But it's also proven with lots of traffic, real customers on the end. And I think that's making that kind of special, that we have a continuous cycle of innovation. We innovated About You, we innovated About You Cloud, and it's all
full circle, yeah.
Yeah, it's a full circle.
Great. And can you tell us a bit more about the technology behind About You Cloud and what that's offering to customers? Because it is quite a shift, maybe similar to what Amazon did with AWS when we decided to launch AWS. We were a retailer and we decided to launch a technology platform for our customers. So you can tell us a bit about the technology that's doing that, that's running that.
So basically, it's a backend e-commerce solution based on the API-first approach. So all modules, systems within the About You Cloud communicate via REST APIs, and we are a headless system. So we can also build your lightweight front end for you. That's the agency part that we have, but it's more, we actually like to take care of the hygiene factors, make backend processes work smoothly. So we, for instance, have our backbone module, which contains a product information management system, order management system. We have a checkout module. We have the personalization module, data science, BI solution. And from the tech side, it's really cool because we get the feedback that the SDKs are really process optimized. So it's not everything we have is completely feature optimized, but it's really made for real usage. So that it's really what is needed in the end is there via optimized endpoints already. And of course, we give that out to the developers of our customers as well, so they can build on top of that their microservices or integrate external systems. So we don't say you have to use all modules from About You Cloud, but we're flexible there. We also build the adapters in case they have some legacy IT still in place and don't want to work with pure APIs. Yeah, but I think that's the technology behind.
And we have 1 minute or so left. I think closing thoughts. It'd be great to hear, what's in the future about you and About You Cloud. How you're looking to grow that. What are the goals for the business? How's technology going to play a part in that?
Yeah, the cool thing is that when I started 3 years ago at About You, we had this goal that we want to be among the top 3 e-commerce players by 2020, and we have already reached it this year. So that is pretty cool. So we will continue growing. And we see that now visibility is even higher than it is for Zalando. So that is a very great success for us. That's a huge competitor in that sense. So that's for the About You retail part. And be present in 10 countries. We already are there, present in 10 countries. and for About You Cloud. So 3 years ago, it wasn't even on the agenda. So this is how quickly we innovate our business model. We want to be one of the biggest e-commerce platform providers by mid of 2020s. So in Europe, yeah, and it looks good at the moment. Let's hope it continues like that.
Yeah, well, the growth is...
If you all join.
Yeah, we've got experience growing a business very successfully, so and you've got the technology underpinning it to allow you to do so. So I'm sure you'll meet those goals and some. I'd like to thank Jana for joining me today on stage as a joint customer of me and AWS and New Relic.